Good afternoon. I'm Glenn Wright, the Tulsa Air and Space Museum Executive Director. As far as the history of this place, it was a dream of a gentleman by the name of Lee Rainey. And Lee is our founding chairman. I was fortunate to be involved with Lee, and they called me founding president. And we had a number of various other people that joined us, and we worked together and came up with the idea of a Air and Space Museum. We started this facility. The one you're in was not, it was our second facility. The one that we started with was one of the Spartan aeronautic school hangars down at the south end of the Tulsa International Airport. But about 5 years ago, we were fortunate to get the funds together to build this facility that we're filming in today. The planetarium was added, and that's always been in our plans to have a full planetarium. Tulsa was a very strong proponent to the history of aviation. You have the oil companies that are here, and then they wanted to have a plane to fly in, and so the aviation, you might say, world and the oil all kind of grew up together here in this part of the country. Back in the early 30s, Tulsa had the longest runway in the world. And so being in the middle of the United States, a lot of things happened with the aviation industry, just by being where we're located. We are very proud of what we have here to offer to the public. Our main mission here is to work with the children in the math and science classes to get them in that mode. And we do rentals of the facility. We're promoting that very strongly. Birthday parties, retirements, we're having weddings. We have rehearsal dinners, of course, and all kinds of things like that. Every year we have an aviation ball, and that's our biggest fundraiser. We have it here in the facility that you're looking at here. It's a tribute also to American Airlines of 65 years here in Tulsa and what they've contributed to this community. All of the previous mayors that we can contact, that we can get hold of, have been invited to be part of that. Unique airplanes will be flying in, some antiques and so forth. So it should be a great event. Now, if you have any interest in something like this, to come to this ball, call us at 918-834-9900 here at the Air and Space Museum, or our website, which is www.tulsaairandspacemuseum.com. Some of the displays that you see in here work with a lot of the history of Tulsa. We have numerous displays on hand around the museum here of the history of the war years, because Tulsa had a big part in that with the bomber plant, as we called it back in those days. We're going to have our curator, Kim Jones, join us, and he'll give us a little more detailed tour of what we have out here.
I'm Kim Jones with the Tulsa Air and Space Museum. I'm the Deputy Director and Curator. And today we're looking at a new set of exhibits that came to us through the Oklahoma Museum Network that we helped establish about 6 years ago with other partner museums around the state. It's funded by the Donald W. Reynolds Foundation, and they're all sets of science exhibits that travel throughout the state. This particular one is memory. And it deals with every type of memory that you can imagine, and things that impair memory, such as Alzheimer's or dementia. Tulsa has played a huge part in NASA's space program. From 1957, when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, we've had a hand in building parts of our unmanned as well as our manned space program. We built nearly 50% of the external structure of the Saturn V rockets that took Americans to the moon. Then later on, we built all of the cargo bay doors for the space shuttle program. And most recently, we built 11 of the huge truss structures for the International Space Station. What you see behind me here is our robotic arm, and it replicates the robotic arm that is used on the space shuttle itself. And this monster is our F-14 Tomcat. It's the airplane that the movie Top Gun made famous. I often tell visitors to the Air and Space Museum that this is the one thing that really doesn't have a tie to Tulsa. but we've made a tie by putting the names of the pilots and the radar intercept officers who flew the F-14 Tomcat in combat. The Tulsa Municipal Airport opened on July 3rd, 1928. They had a grand opening ceremony with airplanes from all over the country. There were important dignitaries like Will Rogers and Wiley Post, among others. They started out in a little wooden tar paper shack that they called an administration building. And within a couple of years, it had outlived its usefulness. So they decided to build a new terminal. That terminal was begun in 1931 and completed in 1932, and it was in the Art Deco or modern style of the day. This is our recreation of that terminal. They tore the original down in 1969. But we've managed to find parts of that terminal all around Tulsa County. You just think about the people that came through and brushed up against those doors, visitors to the Tulsa Municipal Airport, like Amelia Earhart, Wiley Post, Jimmy Doolittle, Charles and Ann Morrow Lindbergh. They all walked through those door frames. As war clouds gathered in Europe in the late 30s, Franklin Delano Roosevelt knew that America would eventually be pulled into the war. As part of their buildup of what they called the arsenal of democracy, they began to build manufacturing plants throughout the Midwest to build airplanes and tanks and all of the material needed to fight the war. Here in Tulsa, they built Air Force Plant Number 3, right here at what today is Tulsa International Airport. At peak production, they employed 22,000 Oklahomans in that plant during the war. The final B-24 built in the Douglas Bomber Plant was paid for by the workers at the Tulsa Douglas plant by buying war bonds. And for purchasing that last airplane, they were able to name it. Well, they decided to name it the Tulsa American. The Tulsa American was shot down in December of 1944. It crashed in the Adriatic Ocean and sank. 7 of the 10 crew members were able to get out alive. 2 of those crew members were from Oklahoma. One was Val Miller from Duncan, and the other was John Toney from Muskogee, Oklahoma. I would like to invite all of you to come out and visit the Tulsa Air and Space Museum. There's something for the whole family: the history, the hands-on science exhibits, the planetarium for the young astronomer in the family. We're located at 3624 North 74th East Avenue.
We want to thank Studio 21, of course, for allowing us to be here together and show the Tulsa Air and Space Museum and Planetarium. If our hours of operation here, if you would like to, and we invite you to come and see us, of course, but we're open Tuesday through Sunday. We're closed only on Mondays, and we're open from 10 in the morning until 5 at night, and that's Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday we're open from 1 to 5. The planetarium shows are 3 shows a day, and you can get those, of course, if you'd like to know which ones are showing, on the website, or call us, www.tulsaairandspacemuseum.com. And our phone number is 918-834-9900. And thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and we are looking forward to seeing you here at the Tulsa Air and Space Museum and Planetarium. I would like for you to follow Studio 21 on Facebook and Twitter.